Hi everyone, so I may look a little bit weird because I have foundation on and no eye makeup, but I'm actually just focusing on a foundation routine today, and this is mainly towards those people who get the occasional breakouts or suffer from kind of mild acne. And yeah, I'm just going to be talking about what I do and what I feel is best when covering up those areas. And I thought I'd do this on a day where I do have a few breakouts, because lately I've been suffering from some kind of bad spots, and if you do kind of have those monthly breakouts, hopefully this can help you. And yeah, obviously if you just, stupid fly, and obviously if you do want just a flawless foundation routine, hopefully this can help you out as well. And yeah, my biggest number one tip is just to drink lots and lots of water. I know it seems a bit simple, but I promise you, when I drink more water, I honestly see a difference in my skin. It might not get rid of, spots, but it can really make a difference in how your skin looks. So yeah, I really hope this helps you today, and if you do want to see how I cover up my breakouts, then so you always want to start with moisturizer. You need to make sure your skin is hydrated, and that way your foundation is going to go on so much better. And if you do suffer from acne, sometimes you can also get the occasional dry patches, especially around the spots, so making sure those areas are well moisturised really helps. If you do suffer from acne, I would stay clear of kind of dewy or any shimmery products on the skin, because if you do have those spots that are kind of raised, that will enhance that. So you kind of want to go for a foundation that has a matte finish. But obviously this routine is for those of you who don't have spots as well, who just want a flawless finish. So now I'm using a primer all over the skin, and a primer isn't for everyone. You don't necessarily need it. If you do have oily skin and you find your foundation doesn't really stay on all day, then a primer can help that. You can find all sorts of primers that can combat redness, minimise pores, and if you're darker skinned you can also use a lilac primer that gets rid of kind of the dark pigmentation around the skin. So just play around with different primers, whatever works for you, and this will also create a smooth, silky surface and will help the foundation glide on. Okay, so for foundation, obviously it's always important to pick the right shade and the right texture for your skin tone. So it's really about trial and error. So you just want to try various different foundations, and obviously if you do have the occasional breakout or you do have acne, my tip is to apply a thin layer of your foundation and then just apply more coverage over the areas where you need it most, because if you don't really want to go for that kind of cakey look, then that's the best kind of thing to do, and then you're not having a full coverage all over the face, because normally you probably don't even need it. So the foundation that I'm using is True Match by L'Oreal, and I find this foundation really good coverage, and it's really easy to blend out, and it's perfect for people who want quite a lot of coverage but don't want that kind of cakey finish. And it's about a matte finish, but it doesn't look too flat, and you can also build it up for full coverage as well. So like I said before, apply a thin layer all over the skin, and when you're done you can see where you need more coverage. So this first layer is basically just matching my face to my neck, so giving it a little bit of colour, and I'm using quite a dense foundation brush, and I find this is the best way to apply foundation if you want the most coverage. Okay, so that's one layer, and I don't know if you can see, I do have a few spots still showing through, and as I said before, you can go back in with a concealer or a foundation just in those areas. That way you're not going to get a whole full coverage all over the face, and it's going to look as natural as possible. So I'm just using another bit of foundation, and I'm just using my brush to dab it over the areas where I need it the most. So I've kind of just got a little bit of scarring from recent breakouts. So I just kind of dab it over those areas. Okay, so with the concealer, if you do have a kind of doe applicator like this one, then you want to apply the concealer on the back of your hand or wherever on a palette, and just get the product off, because you don't want to apply the applicator to the spots, because then you're just going to kind of get all the bacteria. I mean, if they are just scarring, obviously that's fine, but if they are kind of active fresh spots, then you don't really want to touch that. And with clean fingers, you just want to dab that on the areas. And I find to get the most coverage, I just dab it on and dab around the edges to blend it out, and then just dabbing it and just dabbing the concealer wherever I need it most. Okay, so once you've covered up all your blemishes, I'm then going to go in with a slightly lighter concealer underneath my eyes, and I feel this is the most flattering when you're creating kind of a flawless base. And I'm not going too light, it's going to be quite subtle. If you do have acne and you find your skin is quite bumpy, then don't worry about it too much. The main thing you want to do is just get rid of the redness, and like I said before, try and stay clear of shimmery or kind of dewy products, because that's just going to draw attention to it, and you want to kind of use a foundation that is reasonably matte, and that way you're going to basically give the illusion of a flatter, smoother skin. Okay, so once you have covered and concealed as much as you can, you want to set everything in place. Obviously, depending on what skin type you have, you don't have to do this. If you have dry skin, then sometimes putting a powder over the top, sometimes putting a powder over the top can kind of cling to the dry areas if you do have any. So obviously you can skip that step if you feel like you don't need it, but if you do tend to get oily throughout the day, or your foundation just doesn't stay, then this is where you would apply powder. And I basically apply powder to the areas where I get oily the most, and basically through the T-zone. And I'm using RIMMEL to Stay Matte powder. And I'm basically just dabbing the product on, and that way you're not moving any of the foundation or concealer. Okay, so you've basically just created a completely blank canvas, and sometimes you may feel like it looks a little bit flat, so we want to go in with a little bit of colour, either bronzer or blush, whatever your usual routine is. I'm going to go in with a little bit of bronzer, and this one is the Collection Glow Matte Powder, and because it's matte it looks that little bit more natural, and I'm just going to apply that basically to the high points to give me a little bit of colour. And because this powder is matte, I'm going to use a smaller brush and just apply that to the contours, or basically the hollows of the cheeks, to give me a little bit more definition. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of blush to give me some colour to the cheeks, and I'm using MAC Peaches blush. And using the same brush, I'm just going to again tap it off and just dab it to the back of my cheeks. And that is it finished. I'm just going to go ahead and do my eyebrows, and you can go and do your usual routine on the eyes. Okay, so that is it finished. I really hope it helped you out, and obviously you can use this routine regardless if you have acne, if you just want a flawless foundation. Hopefully this helped you, and if you do suffer from acne, I hope this helped you out and it made you feel a little bit more confident when covering up those spots or breakouts. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.